right, so tonight we began the 5-speed swap process on the E30. So first step being, we had to disconnect the exhaust in order to get the drive shaft out, because apparently there's a heat shield that runs all the way down underneath the car. Once we get that off, we'll be able to get the drive shaft out, drain the transmission, since it is an auto and I really don't want to get transmission fluid all over the place. Once we get that drained, we can unbolt it, slide it out from underneath of it, and then hopefully it's just as easy as that sounds. Although I don't think that's going to be the case. I already got the exhaust out, it's laying there. Hi Marcus. Hi Taylor. So hopefully we'll get a good start on it, and I will take videos throughout the process on probably the individual things I have to remove. Other than that, good luck to me. All right, so a little update on the E30. We got the exhaust out, the heat shielding for the drive shaft out, drive shaft's out. So the next problem we ran into is the engine is on motor mount spacers, so it brings the engine up to where the oil pan's further from the ground. Basically, the transmission can't come down far enough to get to the top bell housing bolts. So my new tactic is I'm going to remove the intake manifold. I don't have to, but I'm going to try to get to those bolts because I've got the new powder coated intake manifold that I was going to put on anyway. So that kind of works out. So hopefully we'll be able to get to most of the bolts, pull in the intake, but I doubt it. So we'll start there. All right, so this will be the final update for the night. I took the intake off and I can't get to any of the bolts. Of course, that's my luck, but we kind of figured that going in. Good news is, I got the new powder-coated intake manifold going on the car eventually, so, I mean, I had to do it anyway, so not like I'm really backtracking. However, I will have to re-bolt the transmission mount up. I will have to jack the engine up, take the motor mounts out, set it down in the factory location, and then I could re-unbolt the transmission mount and hopefully lower it down enough to where I can get the bell housing bolts out. So that's it for the night. Hopefully going to get back on it tomorrow and shoot some more videos. All right, so today on the E30, I got the transmission mount bolted back up, as you can see here. Basically what needs to happen is I got that bolted back up, so now I need to take those motor mount spacers out of the front so I can lower the transmission down and get the upper bell housing bolts. So it's always something, but that's where we're at for today. Hopefully we'll get that accomplished. All right, so since I had to take the motor mounts out, I'm using this opportunity to install the Condor Speed Shop solid motor mounts that I got from my friend Marcus. So that should feel pretty good versus the probably worn out rubber mounts. Josh had the engine spacers in it, but I think overall I'm going to raise the car up a little bit anyway in the front. So I'm not really worried about oil pan clearance issues. However, it does sit pretty low, so maybe we'll end up fabricating some kind of like a skid plate, like a steel skid plate or something, to try and keep the oil pan a little more protected, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But now I'll get the motor mounts in. I've got the passenger side in, got the driver side pretty close. I just got to put it in there. So we'll bolt the engine back up, lower the transmission back down, and hopefully have the transmission out here within the next half hour, 45 minutes. So update on the BMW E30. Got the solid motor mounts in for the engine. I got that put back down, bolted up. Now I can bring the transmission back down. However, I didn't bring a wrench big enough for the transmission lines, the transmission fluid cooling lines, but I do have a grinder. So we're gonna try that approach and hopefully don't catch anything on fire. Good luck to me. Friendly reminder to always wear your PPE. Safety first. All right, everyone. Finally had some more time to work on the E30. I apologize because this video is probably going to be in random sections. and probably pretty sloppy, but at least I'm documenting it. I've got the auto trans out. It's there chilling. It's bleeding. Gonna get it a Band-Aid, and by Band-Aid I mean some cat litter. I don't have any. I didn't think about it. So I'm gonna run up to O'Reilly and get some. But about halfway there, got the trans out. That was fun. Not really. I don't ever want to do it again. I hate these cars. Taylor, you're lucky. I love you because this car sucks. Anywho, yeah, this sucks. As you can see, I got the automatic transmission out. You seen that earlier. Got it slid up from underneath the car. Had to do some cleanup. Went to O'Reilly's and got some kitty litter. Got the area cleaned up so I could slide back underneath here. New flywheel, new clutch, pressure plate, pilot bearing. Had to install a pilot bearing because there wasn't one in the car since it was automatic. That's pretty much it. I got the clutch here local from Kentucky Clutch. They're about 10-15 minutes away from my house in Brooks, Kentucky. They usually can put something together for you in a matter of minutes. I've had pretty decent luck out of their products, so can't complain in that department. Gonna try and lug the transmission back in. The new transmission, the manual transmission. I'm doing this all by myself on my garage floor, so we'll see how that goes. Got the manual transmission hoisted up by myself. Got pretty lucky and got it on the first try. However, it was still not very easy, pretty heavy. Got all the bolts in, all the bolts are tight, so it's bolted in. Starter's bolted back up. Need to install the slave cylinder. Need to find some hardware for that. I don't have the nuts for it, so gotta do some shopping, trial and error. Also need a clutch line that runs from the reservoir to the slave cylinder. Probably just whip something up with that. Actually, now that I think about it, my transmission mounts aren't here yet. Ordered some solid transmission mounts to match the solid engine mounts, and I don't think they're here yet, so I'll check on that, and that might be a problem. Anywho, pretty good progress for the night. Alright, so a little update on the E30. Finally had some more time to work on it today. I got the shifter and everything hooked up. I got the automatic shifter out. I don't have the shift linkage connected just yet, just because the transmission isn't actually bolted in yet. It's just kind of hanging down. I still need to install the slave cylinder and run the line for it, so I just kind of let the transmission hang down. Right now, working on the pedal assembly. The car needed a brake booster anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and do the brake booster while I'm messing with the pedal assembly. I got the master cylinder off of the fluid reservoir. I got that off, laying over there, chilling. Just got to get the booster out, put the new booster in, put the new master cylinder on, run the clutch line down, and that'll be pretty much it for the hydraulic. Marcus came over and gave me a hand with the booster because it was a pain in the butt. I got the brake booster back in. I got the master cylinder feed hose ran through the firewall. I just got to plug it into the reservoir. I got the slave cylinder mounted onto the transmission. I got all the bolts in the transmission tightened, torqued. I connected the shift linkage, which is important. Check this out. We have gears. Wow, fancy. The only thing left is I've got to get the line that goes from the master clutch cylinder to the slave cylinder for the clutch, the feed line I put the drive shaft back in, and that's about it, other than putting the intake manifold on. So, moving on along. Should be done by the end of the weekend, and hopefully I can have the video edited enough to post it. Alright, so real shaky update. I've been busting my ass on this car all day long to get where I am. After a small mishap, I got the drive shaft bolted up, minus that one bolt. The problem I was having is the guibo on the transmission I got was for a early model, and the drive shaft was for a late model car, so the sizes were two totally different sizes, so the drive shaft wouldn't bolt up to it. Marcus gave me that guibo there thinking it was just a regular, like, solid guibo, and come to find out it's actually an adapter from for a big spline transmission to the small spline. Sorry, I'm stuttering, but I'm exhausted and this car's kicking my ass. Anyway, I've just got to put the exhaust back on, and then I'm basically done underneath here. Got the new center support bearing installed. It's all bolted up. So far so good. Also, shout out to Dylan Wright. He was at the junkyard today and he found the clutch line that I had been looking for, that I was going to custom make with a piece of brake line, but that didn't sound fun, so I just got the exact equipment for it. So shout out to him. New fresh gear oil in the gearbox, and it's pretty close. I did install some temporary halfway broken rubber trans mounts. I ordered some solid ones from Euro Tuning. After like 2 weeks, they never even sent me tracking info, so I just asked them to cancel the order. Ended up getting them from a different place, but this is where we are, and we're slowly coming to the end of the project. It's been not fun. I haven't made a video in a while because the other day I got the car all the way back together, and as I went to start the car, I realized that the starter wasn't touching the flywheel. After about 5 minutes of research online, I realized that I did not install the flywheel spacer. I thought I didn't need that because of the dual mass flywheel. I was wrong. So, long story short, transmission's back out. Gonna stop for the night. That way I have a few hours of sleep tonight, I guess. I didn't do the rear main seal the first time, so this was like a sign that I should probably do it. The rear main seal will be here tomorrow. My throttle cable that I ordered brand new was too short, so I actually ended up ordering one from BMW. It'll be here Saturday. So hopefully by Saturday afternoon I'll be driving this thing, because otherwise everything was back together. The intake's on, the brakes were bled, slave cylinder was bled, shift linkage was connected, everything worked except for the starter. So now here we are, and back at square one, but it is what it is. So finally got the speed swap and the E30 done. As many of you already know, this is Taylor's car technically. It's been her dream car, so we went and picked one up about a year ago now. I think it's been a little over a year. She's never driven a 5-speed, she's never driven clutch, and today we are learning, and she's already taking off and driving around, shifting into second. In about a 10-minute time frame, we're doing pretty good. Have fun? Go. Still got a little bit to perfect on takeoff, but at least she hasn't killed the car yet. Like I said, shifting in a second pretty decently. Car's doing really good. We probably put about 100 miles on it or so yesterday after the swap. I got everything done and literally got in it and drove it about 100 miles. It's doing fine. I got some small tires coming in for the back. That way I can level the car out a little bit more. This thing looks great. I love this thing. So the tires rubbing in the back. We gotta fix that. At the 5-speed dingy dangy.
I don't fit in here very well.
It's a little. She's never driven this car at all, so that's kind of a little bit more of the challenge. It's just a whole new car in general for her. When we first got the car, it was on like cut springs, and the tie rods were bad, ball joints were bad, brake booster was bad, so the brake pedal would go all the way to the floor randomly. So I just didn't feel comfortable letting her drive it. But after the swap, we got all that stuff done. So here it is.